Oh no, it's your daily reminder that fat women are beautiful.
You define beauty yourself. You are more than just a number on a scale. Love yourself the way you are, and all bodies are beautiful, right? Well, yes, according to the Health at Any Size or Fat Acceptance movement, a movement that has been gaining momentum and followers, promising empowerment and body positivity. It's become almost impossible to go a day without seeing hashtag body positivity, hashtag self-love, hashtag mental health, or even hashtag good vibes, frequently shared alongside these hashtags in our social media universe, and photos and videos of smiling individuals of various shapes and sizes. These posts are well intended, often with the goal of promoting self-love, confidence, and body acceptance. However, the fat acceptance movement has practically taken on a life of its own, to the point of where questioning it could even put you at risk of being cancelled. And while on the surface it might seem like celebrating all body types is the kind of inclusive thing to do, what if it's actually not? What if it's a message that is actually hurting us? The truth behind Health at Any Size is much deeper than it seems. What exactly is Health at Any Size, or fat acceptance movements? In order to understand, let's take a quick journey through history. Our adventure begins in the 1850s, during the first wave of feminism. Picture this: tight corsets, Victorian standards, and a movement called Victorian dress. Why? To break free from the societal mold that dictated women's waist measurements. It's a story of embracing all body types, applauding diversity right from the start. Encouraging, right? But there's more. Fast forward to 1966, the birth of the National Association to Advance Fat Acceptance. This movement wasn't just about breaking discriminatory chains based on body weight, it aimed to redefine how we perceive health. The focus shift from appearances to clinical measurements, challenging the stereotypes surrounding the terms fat and unhealthy and obese. The movement has later on evolved to the second wave, aiming to make places for people of all sizes where they can comfortably gather and exercise. Home workouts and specialized programs called Yoga for Rounded Bodies were made for those who were not comfortable joining wellness classes. As we journey through time, the final act unfolds, with the rise of social media shaping the movement into what we know today. Forget about the traditional norm that health is just about being free from illness. Health at Every Size is a movement where health isn't a one-size-fits-all concept. It's celebration of bodies in all shapes, sizes, and colors. Before we go any further, I'm well aware of the fact that this topic can be very controversial. Let me be crystal clear, I'm not here to endorse fat shaming or push some unrealistic beauty standard. Beauty comes in all shapes and sizes, and that's something worth celebrating. Now, here's where things get interesting. While Healthy at Any Size promotes self-love and body positivity, it also sparks some debate. Some people worry that it might normalize obesity as the new norm, and that's where our journey takes a twist. Amanda Sainsbury-Salas, a medical researcher, raises a red flag. She suggests that while Healthy at Any Size preaches health at every size, the reality might be more complicated. Her research hints that focusing solely on Healthy at Every Size could lead folks to overlook weight gain, which could be a ticking time bomb for their health. But amidst the challenges, Healthy at Every Size has its silver linings. It encourages us to look beyond the scale and consider the factors influencing our health. Genetics, mental well-being, environment, they all play a role. And let's not forget about the dark side of weight stigma. Healthy at Every Size shines a light on how it can deter folks from seeking medical care and worsen body image issues. It's time to ditch the judgment and embrace compassion. However, these positive aspects of the movement seem overshadowed by its negative side. For instance, discussing intentional weight loss is often seen as endorsing pro-diet culture. Even deciding to lose weight is viewed as harmful within the health at every size ideology, which is crazy. Despite its mission to avoid discrimination, Healthy at Every Size can inadvertently contribute to it. Moreover, Healthy at Every Size seems to prioritize social justice over healthcare in its focus. It's important to take note, more research is needed to support the claims of Healthy Every Size. Think of it like having a big puzzle, looking at just one or two pieces. It won't help until you see the whole picture. Similarly, for Healthy at Every Size, more studies are required to understand it better. Now this is where the concept of fat studies come into play. But what is fat studies? Fat studies is an academic area of research and scholarship. It's not about fat as a dietary substance, but rather about fat human bodies. It combines perspectives and research methods from the humanities and social sciences. It builds on the traditional of gender studies and queer studies, focusing on the social, cultural, historical, and political aspects of how fitness as a phenomenon and fat people are portrayed and treated. As you might have concluded, the basic premise of all these identity-based studies is that the numbers of the groups in question are all oppressed victims. Fat studies is no exception. According to fat studies, fat people are victims of sizeism, aka fat oppression. This means that if you are fat, part of the oppression you experience is consistently being told that you should lose weight for the sake of your health. And according to fat studies, suggesting your chubby friend not to have another piece of cake doesn't mean you care about their health. It's considered a microaggression, expressing bigotry and causing emotional pain. And this, surprisingly, is a central belief in fat studies. The idea it's possible to be healthy at any weight. However, as anyone who has ever watched shows like My 600 Pound Life knows, this claim lacks medical basis and might not even be the best advice for someone who is really obese. Yet, fat studies isn't primarily about facts. Everything is someone else's fault or capitalism. And it's to a large extent about therapy disguised as education. Finally though, it's not even a good therapy. Instead of providing studies with hard knowledge and real life skills that can help them build self-confidence and rise above their circumstances, it indoctrinates them with an ideology that makes them feel like victims and reinforces the idea that they can't do much for themselves. In a very special sense, fat studies is even worse than the other identity studies. It takes extra large size college kids who are at the age where it's important to establish a healthful lifelong habits, and when it's easier to get in shape than it will be later in life, and brainwashes them into thinking of their bulk as a fact of their immutable identity. Simply put, it's challenging to think of a program that could be more harmful for someone, effectively not just their body, but also their feelings. With many young Americans dealing with both extra weight and not wanting to take personal responsibility, this area might become quite significant in the future. And some individuals persist in making this happen by trying to prove that being overweight is okay and healthy. They're willing to push boundaries, risking their own well-being, and unfortunately, sometimes even facing fatal consequences. Take Dr. Caitlin Porsay, for example, who dedicated her life to fat studies.
Told about obesity, we're in the middle of an epidemic, extra body weight causes, heart problems, diabetes. What do you say to that?
I think it does definitely fly in the face of what most of us tend to believe and what our common sense maybe even tells us. But I think that the science isn't actually as clear-cut as we like to believe, and there's not really quite a consensus yet about the real relationship between weight and health.
How is the science not clear-cut? Because we get these statistics about how many people die each year of extra weight contributing to things like heart disease and diabetes. So where do you see that the stats aren't correct?
Well, I think in a lot of different ways. So in terms of the stats that you just mentioned about weights attributed to death, quite often what we find is that what studies do is they'll look at people who die, and if anyone is fat in that sample, they'll say, well, they died because of their weight.
Kat Porsay, a pioneer in promoting body positivity for people of all sizes, dedicated her life to advocating for the rights and dignity of fat individuals. Kat's impact echoed, though, through various media outlets, where she fearlessly commented on issues surrounding fatness for both national and international audiences. But Kat Porsay was more than an activist. She was a scholar. She researched how the prevalent negative attitudes in society towards fatness affect the health and well-being of individuals who are fat. Kat challenged the stereotype that being fat means you are automatically unhealthy, and she strongly opposed the idea that losing weight is the only answer. She endorsed people to love and accept their bodies and identifies just as they are, saying no to the pressures of fitting into society's idea of being very thin. She even created a phrase, coming out as fat, which means letting go of the shame and stigma that we might have taken in about our bodies. However, the fat studies faced a sudden and tragic loss when Kat passed away in her sleep at the age of 42 on March 25th, 2022. But the specific details surrounding her death were never made public. Unfortunately, Kat is not the only fat activist whose cause of death remains undisclosed. The lack of transparency surrounding such instances raises valid questions and concerns within the community. What motives could be behind the secrecy? Could revealing Caitlyn information shatter the entire ideology of the fat acceptance movement? Critics have compared this community to a cult, implying that once you're in, breaking away becomes a difficult task. Interestingly, some individuals have had a wake-up call, choosing to transform their lives as they come to realize the consequences of obesity. Unfortunately for others, the realization might have come too late, leading to fatal outcomes. One of these people is Brandi Mallory, an advocate for body positivity who made a life-changing decision after her 29-year-old friend's tragic passing. She chose to embark on a weight loss journey, seeking a way to overcome obesity. Brandi applied to join The Biggest Loser, yet her journey took a different turn as she became a participant on the 4th season of Extreme Weight Loss, shedding over 150 pounds. Post her reality show experience, Mallory remained committed to pushing a healthier lifestyle, determined to shed even more pounds. In a 2018 YouTube interview, she shared a dedication to dancing her pounds away and expressed a fear of mortality, emphasizing her urgency to lose weight.
I had a sorority sister, her name was Portia Grant, member of Gamma Sigma Sigma National Service Sorority. She passed away at 29. She was a year younger than I was. I mean, excuse me, a week younger than I am. And so I turned 29, and then a week later she turned 29, and a week after that she passed. I mean, it was devastating, and she wasn't as large as I was, but I knew she had a heart attack. She suffered from a heart attack, and I literally was waking up every day like this might not, this might be my last day waking up. Like I don't know what's gonna happen for me, and it wasn't. Nobody ever knows, you know, something like that. But when it's playing on your mind that I might need to do something about my weight because I'm afraid that I might die too. then you might need to pay attention to something like that. I saw an ad for Biggest Loser on like a commercial came up. They had just left Atlanta. Their last stop was in Cleveland. I booked a ticket and went. I didn't get picked for Biggest Loser, but they forwarded my information to Extreme, and Extreme Weight Loss called me. And literally every footstep since then has been God. I prayed over the application before I sent it off. I prayed every step of the way.
Now, I know, of course, doing something like deciding that you're going to change your weight or your life, your fitness, anything, is already a big jump. But to involve other people is a whole nother situation.
But unfortunately, in November of 2023, Brandy lost the battle with her weight, age 40, in the parking lot of a Chipotle in Stone Mountain, Georgia. Contrary to most cases, Brandy's cause of death wasn't shrouded in secrecy. The complete autopsy report from the Fulton County Medical Examiner disclosed that Brandy succumbed to complications of obesity. The report categorizes the matter of her death as natural, indicating no evidence of significant recent injury, foul play, or substance-related contributions. Although trace amounts of weed and alcohol were found in her system, the medical examiner clarified they did not contribute to her demise. And Brandy is not the only ex-activist who regretted her decisions when it was already too late. The final videos posted to Brittany Sowers' TikTok page made for upsetting viewing, speaking tearfully to the camera. The 435-pound social media star, who often posted defiantly body positivity content about how hot she felt in certain outfits, admitted with shocking candor that she had ruined her life with food and binge eating, and it had left her, aged just 28, full of regrets. Brittany had been a virtual prisoner in her own home for 2 years, dealing with type 2 diabetes and repeated bouts of the skin infection cellulitis, which had caused a growth in her pelvis, weighing more than 2 stone. She had even been forced to ask someone else to cut her toenails as it left her too breathless. Yet she hoped desperately that it wasn't too late to save herself.
I ruined my life with food, binging.
Within a week of posting the TikTok, Brittany tragically passed away. It's disheartening that she never had the opportunity to make positive lifestyle changes and enjoy a long, fulfilled life, especially considering her escape from a cult and desire to prioritize her health. Brittany's unexpected passing brings attention to important conversations happening around body positivity and fat acceptance. These movements, which have impacted Brittany and countless others, tackle the complexities of body image and self-acceptance. But not all stories end tragically. Meet Maui Bigelow, a famous fashion and lifestyle blogger. She embraced every pound and built a social media empire. Yet, nearly at 380 pounds, her health took a toll. Maui was faced with a health crisis, a blood cancer diagnosis, and uterine fibroids that couldn't be treated due to her weight. Imagine being at a crossroads where your health is at a state and you are a mum who simply wants to see her kids become parents themselves. That's when Maui decided to take a different path. Bariatric surgery, a weight loss procedure. From 400 pounds down to 240, she's now happier than ever before. Now, let me tell you, the world of body positivity is evolving. Influencers like Maui, who once championed embracing every curve, found themselves on a new journey towards health. As we navigate through the complexities of the body positivity and health, it's essential to recognize the diversity of options. And that's why I also want to hear your opinion on fat acceptance. So make sure to let me know what you think in the comments down below. In celebrating bodies of all shapes and sizes, we need to be realistic about what true health actually means. There's a big difference between fat shaming and fat acceptance. We shouldn't go into either extreme, and instead hold a middle ground, promoting health supported by science. Together, we need to raise our voices, encourage dialogue, and promote collective awareness of the importance of both self-love and holistic health. It's never too late to make informed choices for a better tomorrow.